Little boiled Sarah. Okay, thank you, Madam Director.
Tell Sarah to get on the bus or book a taxi and get to my house. She can make me a cup of coffee as well. How's with that?
Book a taxi. Taxi at your house is 60 quid for fuck's sake. Language, Timothy. Language. Not anybody's watching yet anyway.
Hello, chaps. Are you there?
No, there's nobody there. We've got one viewer so far.
What, on Facebook?
Oh, between the two of them, I've got the numbers up for the lot, haven't I?
All right, okay.
At this point in time, there are 7 people watching. It's climbing.
And I'm not married.
You keep a level head. David, I need to keep a level head.
Aye. Just look at the level. Thanks. You're at my screen.
Where's your coffee? I have to get a kiss.
Hey.
Yeah.
Right, starting to build now. The numbers are climbing steadily. So the number I've got on my screen is actually frozen at the moment because I can see more people than that on the stream right now on YouTube.
Yes.
And we'll get
people. Yes.
Right, we're up at 79. That's no bad. We're moving.
Yeah.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Ian. Hi, Pat. Hi, Bob. What have we got over here? Hi, Eddie.
Yeah.
Hi, Lee. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Ginger Giraffes. Ginger's Giraffe, sorry. Eagle Rider. Good afternoon. Sheena Scott. Catherine McKenzie. Thomas MacArthur. Hi, Thomas. We'll get Stuart on the Facebook, John on Facebook, on our Facebook, Billy, quite a few actually. That's us underway. So, as you know, folks, hold on, a bit late for that, I think. We'll see if it will still work. Sorry about this, folks. I'll never change the title of the show.
I think we need to quickly check what Stephen McNeil's put up. John Swinney is quitting. Can you just check and see if that's on the news feed?
I'll have a wee look in a minute. Next. Done. Right, that's us changed the title of the show back to what it should be. John Swinney quitting. I haven't got much on that, but I've only just heard.
Yeah, he's maybe quit from the cabinet. You know, that's it. He's still an MSP. Yeah.
Hey, Nicholas Sturgeon's peace and comfortable with her decision. John Swinney will not stand to be Scotland's next First Minister. John Swinney won't take over as acting First Minister pending SNP. So basically he's saying he's not going to take other leadership in the meantime. He's going to leave Nicola in charge as far as I can see here.
Yes, that's fair enough. Well, she did say she would remain in charge until the new leader was chosen. The new First Minister was chosen.
Right, well, we didn't mean to start on John Swinney. We went to start with Sunak. What did you make of that spanner on Tuesday?
Absolutely. Sorry, guys, again, you couldn't make it up. You know, here's a guy that woman went out and he campaigned like mad to get Brexit across and we'll make Brexit work and all the rest of it. And then he does this deal. And it's called the Windsor framework, right? And he's telling everybody that for Northern Ireland and all the rest of it to be in both the single market for the EU and also part of Britain is great. It's wonderful. It's the most perfect. Sunak, we already had that. We already had that when we were part of Europe.
How stupid must the people that voted for Brexit in England feel today? You know? But I was absolutely flabbergasted with his statement.
Yeah.
The very best deal in the world. Nobody else in the world has got this.
Yeah.
It's super duper. And you think to yourself, how spanner? You pulled us out. You pulled the English and the Welsh out. And you're telling us In's the right bloody thing. I mean, you get right, don't you?
No, the really good thing about it is if you watch what Maximilian Robespierre did on the particular speech, you saw that Sunak, for a change, actually gave a non-body swerve answer, because what Flynn had said to him, hit the mark, it touched a nerve.
Right, hold on, we've got a couple of things to deal with here. John Swinney is stepping down for the Scottish Government. He's gone back to the backbenches. And RE Article 6 of the Treaty of Union, no part of the UK can have a trading advantage. I'm afraid there's two treaties of union, and that one only applies to Northern Ireland. When our treaty was written, it was written 300 years earlier, and it only applies to the trade between Scotland and England.
Yeah, right. But the thing is that because the union, I actually agree with that form of thinking, because the union was enlarged to take in the annexed Northern Ireland at the time.
But what you're right about one thing is, Scotland's not supposed to be disadvantaged in the UK market either. Well, it is disadvantaged in the UK market.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Thanks, Alex.
So what the laddie's saying is absolutely right. Who was it said it anyway? Oh, it's John. Right.
Sorry, Alexis. Thanks. Hi, it was John.
Alexis, thank you.
But as I say, Article 6 is part of the Northern Ireland Treaty of Union. You know, it's a separate treaty.
No, but
we're not shareholders in it.
Well, yeah, we've spoken about this in the past, that when Northern Ireland came in and became part of the Union, effectively that changed the bounds of the original treaty. And therefore the wording of that cannot be disadvantaged, applies to all four nations of the United Kingdom.
I get that, because the market's supposed to be a level playing field. That's why this internal market bill is going to cause us all sorts of troubles.
Yeah.
All sorts of troubles going forward.
But the Tories will attempt to airbrush over the whole thing. They'll just the fact that it does break the Treaty of Union. Absolutely. They'll just airbrush over it. They'll go, oh, no. It's not meant to do that.
Thanks, Joseph.
Left. What we've got to do is we've got to make sure that they are hounded to know that they've actually broken the Treaty of Union by doing this, you know.
But the other thing it does do as well is, when we talk about Salvo and the old claim of right, the 1689 one, then this would give them grounds to take the monarch to court and get rid of them, because he's no more, besides in this, he hasn't acted in the best interests of Scotland.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. But also, there's another facet to this. If Scotland are being disadvantaged by this, England are too, and so are Wales.
Thanks, Eddie.
You know, so the people that are watching from England at the moment, this shot you in the foot as well.
Aye. But that's what I'm saying. Imagine being a Brexiteer on Wednesday morning. And to wake up, if you think about it, Farage said prior to the referendum, even the EU doesn't even leave in a single market and customs union. That was a choice that the hard Brexiteers made.
I know they did. Yes, that's right.
And we were being told by the very man that was telling us we needed a hard Brexit that the best deal is a single market and customs union. If you were a Brexiteer today, you'd be feeling like a bloody idiot. Thanks, Lenny. You'd be feeling like a bloody idiot right now. You know what I mean? You couldn't make it up. But let's get to the Windsor Protocol. Let's put it up and let people know what it is, shall we? I'll put it up. The Windsor Protocol.
It needs reading out, because a lot of people, you're tuning in on the mobile handset, so they're not going to see that. We're the best one in the world, right? We'll read it out and we'll take turns. I'll stop and then you continue, David, okay?
David, didn't it? Go back to the original.
Well, I'll read it then, okay.
You start and I'll do the bit about the Stormont break.
Yes, that's fine. The Windsor Framework is a proposed post-Brexit legal agreement between the European Union and the United Kingdom. You know that, right? Okay. It was announced on the 27th of February. You know that also. It is designed to address the problem of the movement of goods between the European single market and the United Kingdom in the current Northern Ireland Protocol. The overview of that is the agreement was named after the meeting of the UK Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, and the President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen at the Fairmont Hotel at Windsor Great Park. Okay, after meeting the Prime Minister and announcing the deal at the Windsor Guildhall, von der Leyen then had tea with King Charles III in Windsor Castle. The proposed agreement was reached in accordance with Articles 16 and 17. As you'll remember, Article 16 was the one that allowed the Tories to threaten to use to actually stop the whole protocol or any transfer of goods or whatever until the European Commission came to the table, right? So, and that's what it threatened all the time. So, in accordance with Articles 16 and 17 of the protocol, and does not formally need parliamentary approval. However, the Prime Minister has promised that MPs shall have an opportunity to vote on it. Its adoption will likely halt the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill and the infringement procedures by the European Commission brought against the UK in relation to the bill. On the EU side, the agreement will have to pass with a qualified majority in the Council of the European Union. You understand that there's a Council of Europe and there's the EU, right? So some parts of the agreement will have to obtain the consent of the European Parliament.
So it's not a done deal.
Sorry, David, do you want me to stop there?
No, I was just going to say it's not a done deal yet.
Yes, okay. The proposed agreement relates to goods crossing the Irish Sea from Britain to Northern Ireland. It would introduce green and red lanes to reduce checks and paperwork on goods that are destined for Northern Ireland and separate them from goods at risk of moving into the EU common market. It also includes a number of agreements on medicine control, VAT and alcohol duty. Stormont break.
Right.
The framework introduces a mechanism called the Stormont break, which would allow the Northern Ireland Assembly to temporarily stop any changes to EU goods regulations from applying in Northern Ireland if the Assembly feared that the changes would have a significant and lasting effects on everyday lives. According to the agreement, the Northern Ireland Assembly can trigger the break on any new, significantly different rule implemented if 30 members of Legislative Assembly from 2 or more parties object, giving way to a 14-day consultation period before the reference to the UK government for consideration. Cross-community consent, support from both Unionists and Nationalists is not required. However, the government says a decision on whether to permanently block an EU rule once suspended and following discussion of the Joint Committee would not happen in the absence of a cross-community vote. I think I'll let you come in there, David. It's an interesting point.
On you go.
Yeah, no, it's something we were talking about previous, guys, and it's just David came up with some nice, interesting points on that. If the Stormont break was activated, effectively, it's just Article 16. That's all it is.
And the final arbitrator to decide whether it's going to the Joint Committee after the 14 days for discussion is the Northern Ireland Secretary for State. So,
yeah, he says.
They need to be thrown under a bus.
Yeah.
Because if I went to the Northern Ireland Secretary, we're going to say, nah, it'll be implemented anyway.
Yeah. So, and they've doubly been thrown under a bus because now they've slightly changed the rules. It says it needs 30 members of the Legislative Assembly from 2 or more parties. That means the DUP cannot do it all on their own and say it's our fucking ball, we're going home. Sorry for the French.
But they could get one of the other unionist parties to help them.
Aye, they could if they could. You know, but I think...
And cross-community consent would need to go to a vote. Is that a vote of the MLAs or is that a vote of the population? Are we going to have running referenda every time the DUP and the TUV throw their Davies out the pram?
It's not clear. It's not clear. Radka, the Taoiseach, welcomed the agreement and said the Irish government will do all we can to make new arrangements work in the interest of the people and enterprises in Northern Ireland. here in the Republic of Ireland while protecting the European single market and the common travel area between Ireland and the United Kingdom and the Good Friday Agreement. Sinn Féin President Mary Lou MacDonald indicated her support for the agreement. I don't really think I need to carry on with this.
No, that's
because I think most people have got enough on it, right?
the red lane and the green lane, but that's just green for goods going into Northern Ireland and no further. Red for goods going through Northern Ireland into the EU. But different paperwork, different checks. The infrastructure will now need to be built, which should have been built already. They can talk about green lanes all they want. There's still going to have to be checks on the stuff that's going through the green lanes as well.
As far as I'm concerned, it's just bloody window dressing. That's all it is. It's just window dressing.
When we get to Scotland's position on this, Lorraine Hayes says Scotland is being treated with utter contempt. We are invisible to them. They couldn't care less. Rage it. Lorraine, it's not that they couldn't care less or that we're invisible to them. As far as they're concerned, we don't exist.
That's right.
We just don't exist. And what powers we have here are to be sapped away. That's what the internal market bill's about. And that's why we're going to see Section 35 getting thrown about with sweeties. Yeah. Our Parliament has just been neutered. But good point to the Britain, that's our democracy deniers. England got what it voted for, Wales get what it voted for, Northern Ireland got the best of both worlds and what it voted for. It voted to stay in the EU. Scotland didn't they? We get ignored. And all the articles I've read on it says there's very little chance that Westminster will give the same deal to Scotland.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Not good, is it?
Border Northern Ireland's a long way after. People in the south are ready to take on the nut jobs in the north. Simple as that. But what's interesting, if the DUP keep collapsing Stormont and they can't get a working assembly, what happens under the Good Friday Agreement is that London and Dublin jointly administers Northern Ireland. And what you'll find is London will just shunt the responsibility of looking after Northern Ireland to Dublin. Simple as that. Yeah. And that's one of the Northern Ireland solutions, actually, rather than becoming... I mean, there's three solutions. We've spoken about this before for Northern Ireland. They can become a new state themselves and create an actual country called Northern Ireland, rather than province.
Yeah.
They could become devolved from Dublin, or the status quo.
Yeah.
Now, I can see, if they don't get a working assembly up and running, that Westminster and Dublin, who, according to the Good Friday Agreement, will then run the province jointly. I can see Westminster just saying to Dublin, run it for there. You know?
Yeah, well, I don't know if Leo Varadkar will be too happy at that.
No, but the money coming for Westminster through Dublin to administer Northern Ireland. Do you know what I mean?
All right, okay. I don't know about that. I need to give that a bit of thought. It's an interesting thought. I'm not sure. I think Varadkar would just go, nah. He would go, no, I don't need that.
Apparently, Harvard said on the BBC breakfast show on behalf of the Labour Party, the experiment has failed. He was talking about devolution being a failure. Only a failure when they can't win an election here in Scotland. That's when devolution becomes a failure. But it lets you know the direction of travel, folks.
Yeah. That's
why Nicola Sturgeon's tweeting like mad at the moment. We have to stand up and protect our Parliament. And we do. We really do. And that means taking these buggers to court time and time again. The Scottish Parliament will be crippled when you go into court to try and stop Section 35 orders. The next one to be thrown about will be the deposit return scheme. It's due to get up and running in August. The First Minister said it will go ahead. Lorna Slater, who is the Minister in charge of it, says it will go ahead. Alistair Jack says it breaks UK trade rules under the internal market.
I wasn't aware that Jack got his size 14 in there, right?
Oh, aye. That's the next Section 35 we're going to see. And every bill that we introduce going forward, which they deem to infringe on the internal market, there'll be Section 35 orders issued. And then it'll get to the point where they'll tell us that we've got to come in alignment with them because we've got higher safety standards and things like that. We're going to have to lower down to their level. You know, so devolution is finished, folks.
Yeah.
As a concept, devolution is done. Absolutely done. What we should do now is get our MSPs to scrap the Scotland Act.
Yeah.
Just have a vote on it, and they'll be telling us, no, you can't. You can't scrap the Scotland Act. Only Westminster can do it. Then you say, get it up, you. We're scrapping it. What are you going to do about it? You want to come and try and put us on jail? Yeah. See, I need 5.4 million cells. Get on it.
All right.
But there's a battle royal coming.
At the moment, we're sitting and watching all this stuff taking place, and my goodness me, it really is coming thick and fast now. And there's going to come a point, a real point, where we're going to have to suddenly stand up and go, well, are we going to take this for much longer? You know, I've heard a few of the older SNP people saying in the past, oh, we all need to take to the streets. What good would that actually do? What good would that do? I really don't know that taking to the streets is the answer, because as far as I'm concerned, taking the street ends up as a riot.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know.
But what we do need to do is there has to be a public display of disobedience.
Oh, I agree.
There's got to be a line drawn in the sand and say enough is enough.
But but in terms of actually thinking about it and having a real strategy in terms of public disobedience.
Yeah. Last week, Mark's got a good point. It would be ignored by the media, which brings us on to a point I wanted to make. The UK's deplorable crap media on Wednesday basically ignored Sunak's proclamation to us all that the single market and the customs union was the best thing since sliced bread. Yep. They ignored it.
Yeah.
Wanted it kept out of the idiot Brexiteers doing that road. Fortunately, a lot of the radio outlets didn't hide. You know, like LBC and things like that, which are very, very popular.
Yeah.
So, with guys like James O'Brien tackle it. But where was the Telegraph? Where was the Sun? Where was the Davies?
The Express.
Where was the Express? Where was all these right-wing bampots?
Yeah.
All hiding under the duvet. Or what coverage they did give was Brexit's been done. That was it. No so much of the written the piss out of the English people that went on with Sunak. He actually goaded them and called them idiots when he made this statement in Northern Ireland. On Northern Ireland, sorry. He just goaded them and made the English people look stupid. Imagine standing there. I mean, we already knew. We'd already wrote a paper for Scotland's deal, Scotland's place in Europe. It's the same deal Northern Ireland's got. But the people in England who were led to believe that leaving the single market and the customs union was the best thing since sliced bread, they've not to know. You know. But the attack on devolution that's about to be undertaken, you can bet your boots there's not going to be a parliament there in 10 years' time if we don't do something about it.
Yeah, that's right. I agree. There won't be a parliament in Swansea. There won't be a parliament in Edinburgh. You can guarantee that, right? It won't be a parliament in Holyrood in Edinburgh. It just won't exist if we guys don't up our game. And I really, at the moment, I'm stumped as to how we do up our game. You know, I'm doing a bit of civil disobedience. I'm not paying them corporation tax.
Maybe it's not paying TV licenses.
Yeah.
Another form of civil disobedience. But it's time for our politicians to stop being so bloody meek. And that includes those in the Labour, the Conservative and the Lib Dem party. They're elected to that parliament along here to serve the people of Scotland. No, they're political fucking masters in London.
But they do. That's the problem. But they do. And as far as I'm concerned, any Tory in this country, if you're following that law, if you're actually a paid up, signed up member of the Tory party in Scotland, you're a traitor. There you go. I've said it. All right.
Same for signed up to members of the Labour Party and Lib Dem. But let's just get it straight.
Yeah.
These are the people that are allowing their political masters to undermine the very parliament that they fought for.
Yeah.
And 97.
77% was it that voted for the Holyrood? Yeah.
Aye, and its popularity in the last as you know, social attitude study has its popularity at 86%. People like the devolved parliament because of the massive differences in the social contract we have here. They're with the people in England have got with their feet there. Now we're about to lose all that unless we stand up for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's not just independence that's at stake anymore. It's our very democracy.
I mean, I live in Clydebank, and I see it all the time. The dregs of the old red Clydesiders, right? At the time, they did wonderful things. Seriously, they did wonderful things, right? Jimmy Reid and all of that nonsense, all that stuff that went at that time, right? Since the 2014 referendum, right? Labour showed their true colours. They were going round scaring old age pensioners, telling them they wouldn't have any food if they voted for independence.
Look at what's happened to them now. We've got old age pensioners fucking freezing in their houses and starving to death.
Right. Absolutely. Because of the Labour not acting as opposition to the Tories and acting against Brexit. Instead, what they've done is they've pushed it through, they waved it through every single time, voted with the Tories down in the House of Commons. And Stephen, the leader for the SNP, said it right. The Tories and Labour are now hand in glove together in this. Right?
It's the same arse. We've been saying it for long enough. Let's call a spade a spade. Yeah. And it's about time we address the spades that are in the Scottish Parliament. But do you know something? What I want to renew, whoever wins this leadership thing, elections are now devolved. I want them to pass a law in that Scottish Parliament saying that any party in that Parliament has to be registered in Scotland.
Yes, that would be lovely. Yes, we can only ask because we're just two members. That's all we are, guys. But the thing is, though, if we become like maybe a few thousand people saying the same thing, that's a different matter.
Well, I got a letter in. I'm glad you remembered that you mentioned that. I've got a letter in yesterday. I sorted it out. Sorry, this morning. I've sorted it out since. But oh, your letter in tell me my membership has lapsed. My membership's never lapsed. You know, so I'm on the phone. Say the nice membership's lapsed. We swapped banks last year after we changed after we'd made our annual subscription.
Well, if we swap banks, my money's coming out each month.
Well, we just had to give them the new details and the membership was reactivated right away, like, you know. But so we'll get a new card done. Same membership number, but we'll get new cards. I said, what's the point? We'll get the same fucking membership number. So we'll get new cards coming and we'll get our vote. We've been assured of that we'll get our vote.
I'd really, really like to know who is responsible for changing the policy that the SNP had for their hustings. We were being told that the mainstream media were not getting a look in. The hustings were for the members only. And then I read just the other day there that the Cumbernauld hustings, they were letting an STV camera in, a radio station and a paper journalist, and I thought, that's it. At the moment you let one camera in, never mind anything else, that's it. You've given it to the entire MSM. We cannot allow this to go ahead. We can't. They've done one, but we can't allow future ones to go ahead. We all need to scream about this. Keep the bastards out. The MSM are unionists. Simple as that.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, Dave, because when they were kicking up a fuss about this yesterday because the new leader of the SNP will probably become the new First Minister, they're arguing it's a public interest, right? But Brian Taylor, the old political director at BBC. They got him on and asked his opinion about it. He's saying the SNP's got it right, got it wrong on this occasion. But you've got to remember the SNP and the independence movement don't trust the mainstream media. He says there's no, which was interesting coming from Brian Taylor, was he was saying there was no balanced journalism here in Scotland. You know, imagine that bam pot. Given it there's no balanced journalism. But there's videos of him directing his staff at the BBC to down the idea of independence.
Yes, that's right.
And to calling the people of Scotland out of voting yes.
Yes.
And there he is telling the BBC what he was doing. You know, and saying to the BBC, there's no balanced journalism here, there's no balance in the press. You know, the press is basically biased against independence and against the SNP. Imagine Brian Taylor coming away with that push.
Yeah.
You know? Wow. It was interesting though.
If you, seriously guys, if you disagree with letting anyone from print, radio or TV media into the hustings of the SNP, you're going to have to shout bloody hard about it and make sure that the SNP get the bloody message.
Aye.
You know, do you really want the mainstream media be involved in this? It's none of their bloody business. It's a private, you know, what I've done is I've stepped aside in terms of campaigning for a particular candidate, because at the end of the day, I just think I just need to actually look at who's up, and I'll register my vote, and that's it, and then I'll support the person that wins.
Woodpet's is making a good point here. TV hustling should never have been in there. You'd think that they'd have learned from the ludicrous performances over the Tory leadership and what came out of that.
You know, you have to understand, media sell their services, and what they need is, it's like the oil companies. They need oil down under the seabed to soak up and sell. Well, so do the media services. They need stuff like this that they can actually put out and sell, so that the advertisers get a good cut, right? And that's the point. That's the whole point. They want to turn it into a circus. I don't want them anywhere near it.
Independence Live. Hi, Kevin. You asked to live stream some of the hustings, but no joy. Well, the one in Cumbernauld last night was live stream.
Yeah.
But I can understand, Kevin, you don't want to be there with your own team.
Yeah. And look at that. Just look at that for a moment, right? Here we've got Independence Live, well established, very well established indeed, right? And the pro-independence, and it's a pro-independence hustings that's going ahead. And who is it given to? The bloody STV. That are unionist as fuck.
Lewis on Super Chat, thanks for that Super Chat.
Thanks,
Lewis said, what do you think about a debate night special with the three candidates? What do you think about it? It's going to happen. Well, I think it's a good idea or no, I imagine. You know? So, thanks very much for that Super Chat, Lewis.
If you remember that years and years and years ago, hustings used to be the town halls and all the places round about. It's like they came in, they all talked to the audience. The audience made their minds up and voted, right? And that was it. That's the way it happened. Nowadays, your MSM, they just want to make it into a circus, especially as it's the SNP.
Chris is asking, why can't we just, as a people of a nation, just uprise against this? But we could, if we could get any coverage of what's actually been done to us.
Chris, people, right? Okay. Yeah, people might go, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's all take to the streets, and then there's a good episode of Corion, and they just stay where they are, right? You know, at the end of the day, it's like, I have to say, nowadays people don't. You know, the revolution is going to be overtaken by Coronation Street or EastEnders, something like I'm an old man. What do I know? What can I say about it, right? I can't force anybody to, have an uprising, start rearranging the land round about. Not my place.
When we talk about uprising, it's got to be peaceful.
That's right.
And some of
It's got to be
that sort of talk.
It's got to be clever, David. It's got to be clever.
It's got to be
That's
clever.
what I'm saying. There's got to be there's got to be a proper strategy to the civil unrest. It's got to happen in such a way that people go, yeah, I can get behind that, right? And we were not actually going to killing people or rearranging the scenery or whatever, right?
No, that's rising up. There's different ways of doing it. I mean, look at the way Gandhi done it. That's what we're going to have to do.
Yeah.
You know, when they start telling us through Section 35s that we can't do, it's at that point we tell them we're going to fucking do it anyway. And that takes a sting right out of their Section 35s or whatever.
Sorry, guys. It's going to happen whether you like it or not, right? That's the answer that's needed.
And that's the
problem is, you're not going to get any one of the SNP politicians doing that. It ain't going to happen. Because they realise that if they did that, they're going to end up in jail.
No, they're not.
Yeah, aye.
We're not going to start jailing our politicians.
Look at Catalonia. There's a good example.
Catalonia, and they're not going to start.
I know we're not, that we shouldn't really put Scotland and Catalonia together. However, their politicians were locked up, were jailed, right? And it could happen, because don't forget, in the UK now, you can go locked up for no reason.
I know that. David, all that really happens is our politicians have to be clever about it. When Jack comes up with put in with a Section 35 for the deposit return scheme, Lorna Slater is just going to have to say to him, you can issue that if you want, but we're going to do it anyway because that's what the people of Scotland voted for.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I mean, my goodness me, deposit return scheme. I was the kid that blooming turned Bailison upside down for bottles. I used to dine on the finest iron brew that I managed to buy with the money I got through deposit scheme. It's like when I was a kid, I used to go and visit my relatives in Bailison, and it was lovely hot summers and all the rest of it, right? And I used to run right the way around Bailison, getting all these bottles and taking them back to the convenience store.
We already had deposit return schemes. Thanks very much, Alistair. That's very, very, very generous of you.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, mate. That's really generous of you. Now, but as I say, this is where the line where our politicians in that Parliament are going to have to be drawn. Yeah. And the Scottish Government's going to have to be really strong and stand up and say, sorry, mate, don't give a fuck about your Section 35. This bill's already been passed into law, and it's what the Scottish people voted in a prospectus, a manifesto for. It's happening. And then we'll see where that gets them.
Yeah, the problem is though that unless the bill receives the moniker from King Big Ears, right, it doesn't get passed into law.
The bill for the deposit return scheme has already been passed into law.
Right, okay. And it's like whether Alistair Jack's going to come in, use Section 35 and bin it, right?
Oh, they're not going to bin it altogether. What they're going to tell the Scottish Parliament is, no, you can't have it until England does it.
Right.
England's deposit return scheme is still 18 months away, so we're not to have ours until they get theirs because it would upset the market, apparently. It would mean that producers in England would need to put 20 pence on the cost here in Scotland.
I can just imagine in summer, all the English folk coming up the road with their caravans hitched up, right, and saying, can we just stop off at a convenience store? The caravan's stacked full of blooming ginger bottles.
Yeah.
We'll pay for a holiday. Oh dear. Anyway.
Aye. Thanks, Will. Hey.
As I say, Stephen Charlton's brought up. That's a memory now. It's a bit like us as kids saving the newspapers and swapping them for a patty supper and a can of juice. Brilliant. Thanks for reminding us that.
Some people are old enough to remember jam jars and cinnamons, but hell, You know,
Yeah.
the deposit return schemes are no new.
Yeah.
And all this crap about how much imposition it would be for the industry. Well, the majority of the big producers here in Scotland have already signed up. 649 of them, I think it was.
Yeah.
Covers 95% of the market. So
Yeah.
just go ahead with it.
The plastic. I watched a documentary about it, and there's a company that set up these great big enormous floating rafts, and what they do is just as they're going through the water, they're picking up plastic from the surface, right?
Aye.
And then they bring it up on the back of the ship and they empty it out, and it's massive. You know, we need to control things like that. The world needs to control things like that, and for the world to control things like that, it needs to start somewhere. And the one good thing is, we Scots, we're mouthy buggers. If we do something right, we'll tell the world. Of course we will.
But as Kevin just put up there, or Independence Live just put up there, it's not as if deposit return schemes are new.
Yeah.
You know, if you take some of the drinks manufacturers here who still put their drinks out mainly in glass bottles, like Curry's and Dunn's, they all have deposit return schemes anyway.
Yeah.
You know. The thing is, it's single-use items that will be. You know, because let's face it, plastics generally have a deposit return on them anyway.
You know, Eddie Wolfie says the plastic bottles and blown packaging are the biggest problem. The good thing is about blown packaging. My friend down in England, he used to own a plastics factory, and he did blown. He'd a blower for doing, you know, they do the bottle shape or whatever, right? The problem is it can only be recycled so many times. However, they've now managed to make it whereby the plastic can be recycled many more times, so long as it isn't clear, and that's the trick.
Now, John Swinney is staying down, and Lorraine tells us that glass currency will hold more value than the English pound. Aye,
very
bad.
good, Lorraine. Yes.
Not bad. But as I say, I mean, devolution is really under attack now. It really is. Devolution's finished. They're direct funding into our councils, which is contravening in the 1998 Scotland Act.
Yep.
The internal market bill means that everything that comes through our parliament is going to get hit with Section 35. Everything. Oh, we can't do it different in Scotland. That will affect the market elsewhere in the UK. That's
just a load of crap. And that sort of goes along with Rishi Sunak's gift to the people of Northern Ireland, and thereby devaluing everything that people in Wales, Scotland and England have got by comparison.
Andy Scott Bryan says that he's recently been in France and they noticed that they don't pack the fresh foods, fruit and vegetables in plastic earlier. You know, you get in the supermarket and you get your 6 apples in a bag or in a tray and things like that, you know.
What do they actually do, Brian? Can you actually do as a wee quick, just a couple of words, just tell us, do they take their own message bag with them or whatever to carry the fruit and veg? You know, that I can understand.
That's it, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, the plan isn't to take the parliament away immediately. The plan is to strip powers out at one at a time, and a decade later say this is a failed experiment. We're already seeing Starmer coming away with stuff like that now.
Yeah.
You know.
Peter Duguid's put up a good one. Scotland can't have it till England does it, like the poll tax.
Aye. I mean, that's what it is with the deposit return scheme. There will be different regulations here in Scotland until England catches up. So ours will get vetoed. Simple as that.
Hey, Chris, the only thing I've got to say to you is, if the mission, if you choose to accept it, is to put on your Guy Fawkes outfit and go. Chris says we need a Scottish Guy Fawkes to go to Westminster.
I'm busy.
Don't you dare.
I'll make it eventually. Just give some time, guys. When you're plotting a gunpowder treason plot, you've got to be very careful with these things.
Yeah.
he says laughingly.
Here's the rub. It's like you stand in Westminster Bridge with the blue touch paper. The people in England would be queuing up to actually light it, tell you. I think they're as sick of Westminster as we are, a lot of them.
Aye, and SDW, S understroke, sorry, DW says that everywhere he's lived there's been a deposit return scheme. Aye, even here. We've just spoke about Duns and Currys and people like that who still put their juices out mainly in glass bottles. They've all got deposit return schemes.
But
is that right? A couple of years ago, the DUP a breach of the Treaty of Union. Who cares about it? Westminster doesn't give a damn about treaties of union.
That's right. Yeah.
And Alex Salmon apparently has thrown whom's under a bus over equal marriage vote 9 years ago. This is this claim for Alex Neil, and now Alex Salmon's backing him up to say that whom's that wasn't away at a meeting. He just didn't vote on the equal marriage thing. Whom's that says he was away at a meeting, government business, you know. Aye, as an old joke that Guy Fawkes was the only person to enter Westminster with good intentions. It's true. Unfortunately, failed.
Do you want to know something? Even if he had succeeded back then, it wouldn't have done any good. They'd have convened it somewhere else, and the survivors would have continued on doing what they're doing. We'd have still had a shocking Westminster nowadays, you know, even if that was done. However, the idea had some merit.
I missed this one, Nathan. I've never seen this one. You want to thank us for it. It's no us, it's you guys. We just took it on to a couple of charities. But people would Food Donations video, but the shame on those two in Glasgow for dumping the food on the ground meant for the homeless.
That was utterly ridiculous. It really was. That was utterly ridiculous. It was like, look at a male and a female walking up. There was cooked food there for the people that live on the streets, and it was inside a box, and the guy just walked by and pulled it and dropped it all on the ground. And that we don't need. That's scum. I would call that to their face. That's scum. You are scum.
I hope the police got involved.
Yeah. Well, it was, as far as I could see, it was a decent closed circuit TV picture, and they could have got the guy. Could have got that face. The CCTV lab in Glasgow, I know for a fact, they're well up for a job like that. They could bring up that guy's face as a woman 8x10 glossy.
That's a good point. Any companies in Scotland that refuse to sign up to the deposit return scheme just don't buy that product.
Yeah, that's right. Vote with your feet. Something like that. But let them know you're voting with your feet. You know.
Thomas will say, well, a lot of the supermarkets do that now. They'll take back the plastic bags, you know, and reissue them free. You know, our co-op does it. You take the plastic bags back, you keep them behind the counter. If somebody needs a bag, rather than have them paid, they just give them because it's already been paid for.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Right.
We don't need the courts to start up here in Scotland, but we need to take cases to the courts. You know. So we don't need people to start challenging the Westminster Parliament in court. They're using Scots law to challenge them. There's no doubt about it. You know.
We need to break this impasse. We need to actually find a way, and that's what I'm saying to you about the strategy of civil disobedience. It needs carefully working out. It needs to be an idea, right, guys? Can we get behind this? And for every single one of you to actually put it out as the strongest message you've ever put out. I feel certain that something is going to come out pretty soon where a lot of you can get involved. You know, but there are other things first to deal with, like the chain of freedom.
Aye.
That needs supporting, big style. And if the people of Scotland cannot get out and go and hold hands on a pathway that goes across Scotland, then we might as well forget independence. We might as well just accept our fate and accept what kind of scummy existence our children are going to have in the future.
And that's the point. It's the crap existence that our children are going to have in the future if we don't put a stop to this mob down that road. If you're running in, and that doesn't just mean independence. That means sticking up for what we already have as well. And every time they say no, you can't, we're going to say we're going to bloody well do it anyway.
Yeah.
And
David, there is going to be an issue at some point. You know, you can imagine the GRA or GRR, whatever you call it. The people go, well, I wasn't really into that, you know. And deposit return scheme. Well, I don't get bottles that you return. We put them in the recycle bin, right? At some point, there's going to be an issue pushed by Westminster against Holyrood, and it's going to be a biggie, and it's going to really affect individual people throughout, a lot of individual people throughout Scotland, and that's the point at which we need to be ready to come forth with a proper strategy to create civil disobedience. Yeah? At the moment, it's dreadful. It's dreadful what's happening. But it's us that see it. It's us. It's people like us that see it. Your normal boy in the street doesn't see it. It needs to be something that is highly visible to them. Yeah? So if that, okay, I'll give you a stupid example. If the people of Scotland suddenly had no more benefit system because the Westminster blooming shut it down, could happen. Could happen. Of course it could.
Apparently, a march in Edinburgh on the 1st of April and a march in Glasgow on the 6th of May. And apparently, according to John, Salvo have set up hubs all over Scotland. That's very nice.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with them? It's all very well talking about the claim of right if you're not going to use it. At this point in time, they've got an excuse to take Charles to court, so let's see Salvo do it.
Yeah.
Let's see them exercise that claim of right. Get Charlie into court. After all, he's not stood up to his constitutional arrangements for Scotland. He hasn't stood up for Scotland at all. The Windsor framework disadvantages Scotland. He's not allowed to do that. That's at the point where we exercise that so-called claim of right and say, hey, either we get the same deal, Charlie, or you're off the throne.
Yeah.
So Salvo's got something they can go to court with us. So if they've got hubs everywhere, let them start fundraising and get this court case up and running.
But the referendums that Scotland can run, well, a cracking one would be even just announcing it. Never mind actually doing it, just announcing it is we're going to have a referendum over whether Charles is King of Scotland or King of Scots. That would put the wind up the entire monarchy, and they would be down on Westminster like a ton of bricks.
Independence Live says we have and are covering over 10 marches and rallies this year, and we have a web page set up with listings. Okay.
Kevin. Very good, sir. Very good.
And Hashbury Stumble, he says he hasn't been informed by Salvo that they've set up any hubs. I'm assuming he must be signed up to the website. Yeah. I'm no opposed to these groups looking at the law and seeing how they can use it to bring these buggers to their knees. Salvo's claiming the claim of rights, the thing to do it on, the 1689 claim of right. Well, this would be the perfect opportunity. As far as I can see, Charles is not standing up to his constitutional responsibilities here in Scotland.
That's right. Yeah. And, you know...
Oh, frozen. Oh dear, I think the internet's dropped off. Aye, but it's frozen.
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here. Well, it's David, I'll get you.
Something's frozen or not. My signals, I've got a full signal. It's David, there's no signal here, according to this. Guys, could Can you guys still hear me? Is it just David that's frozen? See if we can bring him back in. Oh, he's dropped out altogether, guys. Hopefully he'll come back in. Hold on, that's him on the phone. David.
Power cut, tell the guy.
Oh, power cut. Is that what happened? Hey, folks, the power's out in Clydebank. Davies out at... Well, hey, I've got him on the phone right enough, but that's not going to help. It looks like we're rounding this one up 5 minutes early, kids. Either that or I'll just have to carry on for the next 5 minutes. But hey, listen, right, David, hey, I'll speak to you after I round the show up, alright?
Okay, mate. Tell them all of them all, and thank you very much for watching.
I think they can probably hear you. Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Aye, apparently there's a power cut in Clydebank, folks, so that's why David's out. And he could have come back in on his phone, I suppose, aye, but he's on the power doing his phone. So we'll leave it at that. We're only 5 minutes left in the broadcast. Now, thanks very much for that super chat there. A ghost of our Hippo, Hippo gets a super sticker. Thanks, the Jed Red. Anyway, thanks everybody who's given us a super chat or a super sticker or a super thanks. As you know, the money will go to food banks as it starts to come through us, and it will help those who are. Some of you have seen the video I did the other day when I went to food bank. It's really, really, it's a painful thing to know that our people have got so little left in life, and we've got warm banks at the same time. You know, it's disgusting. And in fact, but it's not going to get any better, folks. Electricity is about to be hiked by 20% in April, even though the cost of production is coming down. And we are a very, very rich, energy-rich country, and we'll get people freezing to death. You can't make it all. But thanks for your donations. Really, thanks very much, Dave and I. Thank you for your donations to Super Chats. Now, remember, if you're on YouTube, can you please hit the like button on the video? Because it really helps the channel. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We would like to get up to a few more subscribers. Right, now, obviously, there's no bye Davey this week, it's just me.
Hi, David.
Hey, oh, sorry, Madam Director's there. Right, so use a lot look after yourself. Kevin, thanks for jumping on. Nice to see you there. Thanks to you all, actually. Viewing figures are great. Between YouTube and Facebook, we've got 203 people watching us live at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay, now if you're going to share this video on Facebook, give me a couple of minutes after the broadcast is ended so that I can change the video to public. As you know, Mate has restricted me. All right, now David and I will be back this Thursday. We'll be back on Monday. Oh, he's back now. Power's back on. There will be a bye Davey right enough the new. Because you come back time for the show, didn't you?
I'd have been back quicker if my router had fired up quicker.
They were saying, can they not jump on this phone? You know. But anyway, I've already thanked them for the super chats, thanked them for all the donations, and all that's left to Davey is say bye, Davey.
Bye, Davey. Bye, guys.
See you on Monday, 2 o'clock. See you Monday.